everyone, and welcome to our show. Today we have some special guests to tell us a little bit about themselves. Today we will be interviewing Jeanette Walls, McMurphy, Chief Rondon, Nurse Ratched, and Macbeth about their loyalty and perseverance through life's obstacles.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA.
Please welcome our first guest, Jeanette. Jeanette, welcome. So our first question is, do you think your childhood shaped who you are today?
I would say yes. I think my parents definitely taught me to believe in myself and help me face my own fears. One time when I was a kid, I had monsters under my bed and my dad took me demon hunting. And it was used as a metaphor for me to confront my own fears, and definitely overcoming poverty and overcoming it definitely makes me more thankful for life, and I was very hopeful growing up that I would overcome it. So yeah, my childhood definitely shaped who I am.
So do you feel guilty for your parents' issues regarding alcoholism and neglect?
No, because although it affected how my family and I lived, I never felt that my dad was an alcoholic because of me. He even tried to overcome it at one point for my birthday. My parents really did care about us. Even though sometimes my mom did neglect us, in the end they always did what was best for our family.
So what was the most challenging thing you've overcome in your life?
The most challenging obstacle that I've overcome is making it on my own in the city and completing my own education. So when I first came to the city, I had to work at a burger joint with my sister, paying my own rent. Meanwhile, going to high school, and I eventually got into Columbia, so that was definitely the most challenging thing after I moved away from my parents.
What was a key turning point for you in your life?
One turning point for me in my life was definitely getting into college at Columbia. That was a really big deal, and definitely realizing my parents couldn't support our family anymore. Also, when one of my siblings had a breakdown and eventually moved away, that was definitely the turning point for when I broke free of my parents.
Do you consider yourself brave?
To a degree, yes, I do consider myself brave. My bravest moment was when I had to move out on my own and start a life of my own. I realized that the glass castle that my father had promised to build for us wouldn't be able to happen with the way that they lived their lives and the way that our family was moving. So I made the decision to move to New York and build a life for myself. I definitely had to start over and overcome the oppression that my parents put us through. So to a degree, yes, I was brave in that sense. Okay.
Now it's time to bring in our second guest, Macbeth. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Macbeth. Thank thee for having me. Okay, let's dive right in. What was your motive behind killing King Duncan?
To be completely honest, I felt like it needed to be done. The only way I could gain power is becoming King of Scotland. Having this power can earn me more respect.
So, did the three witches' prophecies influence you at all?
Yes, they did. I was thinking about becoming king, but had no thoughts of killing the king. However, my wife pressured me into doing it, so I'd be able to get the throne and crown quicker.
So, very interesting. So, if you felt guilty after killing Duncan, why did you keep killing?
After I had the title of king, I felt as if people were going to challenge my position and try to take it away from me, which made me paranoid. I wanted to protect my power, and the witches' prophecies did not make sense to me, so I wanted to understand everything.
Do you regret doing any of these things just to gain power?
Yes, I do. I became too concerned about my title as king and became paranoid. I could have stopped myself from killing innocent people.
So, did the power you gained benefit you in any way?
The only way it did was to control lesser citizens. Other than that, no. I could not handle that amount of power because I felt as if it was disrupting my peace of mind and that my conscience will haunt me for eternity.
Thank you so much for your time. Now it's time to bring out our second guest, Nurse Ratched. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, what was your responsibility in the ward?
My job was to keep everything in check. I made sure all the patients were under control, taking their medication, doing their chores, and not causing any trouble. I guess you could say I'm the machine that keeps things running around here.
Ha! Did anyone in the ward challenge this?
Well, I suppose. This man joined my facility to avoid work. He kept challenging my rules and encouraging other patients to do the same. His name was McMurphy. I remember one time he tried to usurp my power by starting a vote to watch the World Series. He technically won, but I didn't give him the satisfaction and I didn't let them watch it anyway.
So what did you do to keep the situation under control?
That was taken care of. There was an incident one night when there was a party thrown with women and alcohol, and McMurphy attacked me the next morning. For a moment, I had lost control, but I quickly gained it back by taking his humanity with lobotomy.
So did this end the disruptions with the other patients as well?
Almost completely. Everyone remained quiet except one man named Chief Bromden. He escaped the night after McMurphy was lobotomized. I think McMurphy played a big role in giving Chief the courage to act out. He was deaf and dumb before that man arrived.
If it is such a difficult job, why didn't you quit?
Because I'm loyal to the rules of the ward. Without me, this place would be chaos. They need me. I'm the only woman powerful enough to do the job. McMurphy was certainly an obstacle, but I managed to come out on top.
Wow, how interesting. Thank you. And now for our next guest, Chief Bromden. How would you describe your role in the ward before McMurphy came? I would mostly just carry out my day-to-day tasks. I didn't really talk much. I mostly just sat back and watched everyone. Most of the time, I was trying to stay out of the big nurse's way. No one ever wanted to get on her bad side. What is the source of this newfound bravery that you have? Murphy helped me realize my full potential. Before he arrived, people just assumed I was deaf and dumb. But McMurphy changed that. He actually spent time with me and believed that I was smart and capable. Other than becoming more brave, what traits did you learn from McMurphy? I learned to be confident in myself. All my life I wanted to become big, not physically, but big as a person. McMurphy was the one who gave me the confidence to believe that I could survive outside of the ward. How has your bravery changed you? It has allowed me to accomplish things I could have never done before. For example, before McMurphy instilled a sense of bravery in me, I would have never dreamed of escaping the ward. Do you believe that things would have ever changed if it was not for the arrival of McMurphy? No. McMurphy opened all of our eyes to the oppressive nature in the ward and the wonders of the world outside. Nurse Ratched was restricting us to the point where we did not even feel like humans. No one had ever healed and no one ever left. If McMurphy hadn't come, I would have never escaped. Wow, so crazy. But that's all the time we have for Chief today. Give a big round of applause for McMurphy. Thank you, yeah. So, why did you feel you had power as soon as you entered the asylum?
Well, I felt like I was different from everyone else because I wasn't afraid to stand up for myself against the big nurse. Some people in the asylum couldn't even speak at all. I mean, they're vegetables. I felt like I was their leader and they looked up to me, and I wanted to speak for the people who couldn't.
Why were you not afraid of Nurse Ratched?
The moment I got there, I knew what Nurse Ratched was doing was wrong. She was taking advantage of the patients and using her power too harshly and for her own gain. Since I am not as disabled as some of the other patients, I was able to see that happening, so I acted out and tried to tip the scale.
What characteristics of Chief led you to befriend him?
I saw that he was different just like me. Although I couldn't tell what was wrong with him right away, I did know that he was not insane. He was quiet but also independent. He never talked because he said he was mute, but we both had an understanding with each other and I could tell that that wasn't true. I was able to pull him out of his shell while he helped me realize a few things about myself, too.
What past experience that you've had allowed you to become brave enough to challenge the authority of Nurse Ratched?
Before I was sentenced into this asylum, I was in prison. The prison environment was completely different than the one of the asylum, and it taught me that you have to stand up for yourself when you see a wrongdoing. Also, you cannot let others stay in the shadow and let them be taken advantage of. It's just not right.
Thank you so much for coming today, and thanks to all of our guests. Well, that's all the time we have for our guests today. I really think we got to know these different characters and what their journeys were like. There's a recurring theme of loyalty and definitely a theme of power. And they demonstrate their ability to keep pushing on even after such tough endeavors. Looking like we can all learn a lesson there. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye!
Got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA.